Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Breath of Fiction. This is Dan, also known as DCC Rules. Today, we also have.
Oh,
That's your cue, Lily.
I'm a flaming fry sexual bitch. Let's go.
Love it.
Get snacked, otherwise known as Gajima Bro.
Also known as the person who forgets when to say their intro. But anyway, and I'm Radicor, otherwise known as Stressed Desserts. And what are we
Also
doing
known as
today?
the guy who never forgets to shit on other people's intros.
Pretty much. I thought we would have figured out how to do them by now, even though we've how many times have we done it? A lot. But yeah, we still can't.
Oh, monkey.
But anyways, DCC, what are we doing?
Okay.
You see that my brain just goes, "What are we doing, Jeff?" Which makes no sense unless you're a fan of Achievement Hunter. So we were going to do something else. I forgot what was it, Ghost World, but
No, we were tied between Yu-Gi-Oh! Part 2 and Demon King Tanjuro Part 2, but since Sparta is not joining us today, that he's going to see a movie or a pair of movies back to back, he decided that we can't do Yu-Gi-Oh! Without him, so we just immediately went to Demon King Tanjuro.
Alright, so
welcome to part 2 of Demon King Tanjuro.
Quick recap for those who don't know what Demon King Tanjuro is. The premise behind this AU is what if essentially Tanjiro's father, and Muzan swapped roles. So in things we've established so far that Tanjiro is a very person from Muzan, and Demon Lord who treats demons very differently. And so we're going to see a bit of a different cast here between Slayers and Demons and some other characters. And also, all the Kamados are Tanjiros.
Half demons.
Yeah. Tanjiro has half siblings. So, where do we go from here? Because I forgot again.
Snack, hold on. Snack, is there like static or something in the background? Because I'm hearing it from you.
Me?
I hear it sounds like a buzzing noise.
A buzzing? Wait, you still hear it? Hold on, let me...
Yep, I didn't hear it until... Yeah, I didn't hear it until you muted. After you muted, it stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, it's buzzing.
Yeah. You good?
Okay, I'll reconnect. I don't know what's going on. There's no noise in my background.
Okay, it's gone.
Oh.
It's gone.
Wait.
There we go.
It only happens when she talks now.
Yeah, only that's it. That's something's weird.
I mean, Mike.
All right. Okay, but anyway, you were saying DCC?
Well, what I said was, where do we go from here? Because I forgot again. Because I know we mostly did world setup, and I know we went into, but I don't remember exactly where we left off. I think we had said something about, a demon working for Tanjiro. But Giyu would be a Slayer. Still correct? He's still the pillar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, could be that... sorry. Door, just give me a second. Keep going with that.
Okay, well, as a quick summary, what you're saying is Demon King Tanjuro is a separate entity from Muzan, and then we went along the lines of Muzan and Kie, because Demon King Tanjuro is away from the house a lot of the time. We're suggesting that eventually Muzan and Kie, because Muzan was a visitor to their home one night, eventually had and they had Nezuko, but Demon King Tanjiro didn't know about it for a while. But eventually, after Tanjiro is told, and they're going somewhere with Nezuko, he eventually figures out that his dad is probably wanting to, off them because technically Nezuko's not his kid, and then he runs away and joins the Demon Slayer Corps to get away from both sides, more or less. And I think wasn't Muzan killed the rest of the family? I can't remember, but something.
I think Muzan, what he did was he attempted to inject his blood into the family to see if he could make a sun-resistant demon, but Kie and the other kids did not survive the process, and only Nezuko survived it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But basically, Tanjiro, half demon, Nezuko, half demon, but with different fathers. They're trying to make their way in the world, so to speak, considering what's going on. And they join the Demon Slayer Corps. And now they have to fight two fronts, if anything.
Sorry about that. I now live in a 2-cat household, and we're trying to make sure that they know that they have 2 separate food and water dishes and 2 separate litter boxes. Apparently, one of them does not.
Stop shitting my litter box.
Pretty much. So where were we?
This buzzing in my ears from Snack's microphone is gonna be.
Oh, okay.
I'm not hearing it, man.
Do I have buzzing?
Is it gone? Is it
Hold
still?
on.
No, it's still there.
Yeah, now it's gone.
Oh.
Do you guys
Alright.
want to start the recording over? We've only been going for a few minutes.
Nah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
But anyways, so so now we've established what's going on. Tanjiro and Nezuko are half demons. So do you think they're going to be able to hide it from the corpse?
Depends.
I think
Do
we
they
said
have
that.
any,
I think we said that we kind of agreed they were able to, or at least they didn't know because they're half demons, so to speak.
Like, are they passing for human? Like, they don't burn in the sunlight, etc.
Yeah, because they're half.
They don't have any extraordinary skills or the eyes stuff.
Another question to ask is, do they need to hide it?
I would think they
would
would.
the corpse consider them demons, even though they're only half demons? Because they may think they run the risk of maybe falling to their demon side and eating people. Some pillars might bring that up.
If you have like Sanemi and Himejima, they probably would not fly well with that at first. Obanai, Rengoku, and Uzui might be slightly persuaded, but I don't think
Mitsuri probably would not want to kill
Mitsuri
them.
would probably.
She would not want to kill them, I think.
Yeah, she would be on their side, but I'm not sure about the rest of the pillars, considering their reaction in canon.
But don't forget in canon that when Kaguya said just deal with it, that they just dealt with it.
I mean, that's fair.
Until Sanemi
But-
decided to be an ass about it and say, like, no, I will prove this is wrong. Until he even got unhinged that way.
I'm thinking, what if, like, either they both get persuaded in the same way that he got settled down in the anime by testing Nezuko, or they leave both of them with, like, some sort of test just to make sure they don't, like, eat someone.
And I'm gonna be honest, I like the idea of them like working together, essentially, like supporting each other. Like
Yeah.
Morechi boy standing there like, drink me, and he's just like, no, look at me, Nezuko. We can do this. We can resist this.
Okay, yeah, that could be a nice sibling moment.
Like, I don't know how ethical to the corpse this would be, but maybe, like, if they were to test them, they would leave them with, like, a dead slayer or something for maybe a few days or weeks, just to see, do they...
My dumbass. They let them run around with Zenitsu. If they don't eat that dead weight, then they're clearly good.
They
Yeah,
don't. They eat.
I could see that.
Yeah, but
If they
would
don't eat the
they?
French fry, we're good.
Yeah, but I doubt Kagaya would more or less say that he's dead weight, more or less.
Yeah. So most likely case, I feel like if they were to leave them with someone to test not to eat them, they would probably leave them with someone who's already dead. But the ethical, like they might not like treating the dead that way. That's the issue.
That is
Yeah,
very
honestly,
true as
I
well.
The body.
I feel the more realistic
I will say that if
version
we're
of
doing
that
this
would be that they
after
would just leave them with someone to
Naragumo,
supervise them.
I will say like if they're doing this after Naragumo, I doubt. I'm pretty sure the crows reported that even though they did have like dead bodies where they didn't eat anyone.
Yeah.
So I do think like there probably would. I don't know if they would necessarily test, and Kagaya would might just, trust them because the crows reported that they hadn't done anything.
And having I feel like what's more trustworthy, just leave them with a body for like a week, or like them being out in the field with no one and them being with dead bodies but they didn't eat them. Which one's more trustworthy? Like they could have eaten them, but they didn't.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's kind of like the Jedi trials in the Legends thing, where apparently you don't have to be taking the trials to be promoted from Padawan. Rather, if you have something happen to you that is what you would have been, that satisfies the equivalent of a trial, it's considered as part of it. Like the trial of flesh, where or in general, getting like a wound or so to speak, is considered like part of the trial or something. Be working through pain.
So if they already got like.
And Anakin already had his hand cut
something.
off when he was facing Count Dooku. So technically, he never had to go through the trial of flesh because he already went through that beforehand. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't really.
So if you got like shot in the ass, like and going cannibal them, you'd be like,
oh. Yeah, that would be it. And Sugimoto would have gone through it way too many more times, in all honesty. But moving along, based off that, I would think that they may adopt that idea. Just that they've already been around a lot of dead bodies, and they haven't eaten any of them. So there's probably no reason to think that they would eat anyone else.
Just Gyu standing on that Naragumo. Look at all these corpses they didn't fucking eat. What do you want from them?
What do you want? Why do you keep doing this?
Why do you keep chewing their face?
This is my taste in music is your face. No. So we've mentioned Nanagumo a few times so far, but take a step back for that and say, how do you think they're going to get to Nanagumo? Like, how is the story going to progress in comparison to the canon?
I mean, we could definitely have the same missions in the beginning.
Probably. Or like
and Zenitsu and Inosuke become like secret keepers because I feel like Zenitsu would be able to tell something's wrong. Maybe Inosuke as well.
Like how about it's like after they realize the first swarm of Slayers they sent, they all got killed or failed, then they're like, okay, let's send in the half demon Slayers. And then when it's clear that they're also having trouble there, they're like, okay, let's send in like Shinobu and Gyu or something.
Yeah.
Like they're testing, I guess, or something.
Now, I've already said that I think Inosuke should be a demon or half demon, and I think that would be a great for his character and for him and Tanjiro.
Half demon Inosuke gang, let's go.
No, but then they would have noticed that too. In the trial, they would have to have him there as well, or at least something similar.
I don't know, like depends.
But
like, what if they found out beforehand that he was a half demon, and they just like tempted them to their side, so they already trust Inosuke?
No, but then why would they? No, but then why would they put him, Tanjiro, and everyone else on trial, if more or less?
Also, do we want Inosuke to be part of the Slayers? To be more of a transient character who goes around Tanjiro but avoids the Slayers.
I think being around. I think
Because-
at the very least we should at least keep the connection between Inosuke and Tanjiro. It's anything,
Because as I've mentioned previously, I do want Kotoha to be Upper Moon 2, or at least in the Upper Moon, in replacement of Duma.
I mean,
Inosuke does Darth Vader know when he finds out?
I mean, I thought we were going along the lines that Doma's still with Muzan, but then Kotoha doesn't get killed and gets saved by Tanjiro and is recruited to his equivalent of it. But before that, Inosuke's already born to or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I feel like a big part of Inosuke is his relationship with Tanjiro. Like we see in like the final chapters of the canon, like how much Tanjiro has affected him. So making him a half demon and leaving out the potential plot hole of they don't put him on trial too, or they let him in, but they're having doubts about Tanjiro and whatnot without establishing this, kind of puts in a major plot hole, which I'm not comfortable with. But also, it kind of like takes away, and if we don't put him with the corpse, then it kind of takes away from that development in general.
I feel like we could have Kotoha as a moon, but she had Inosuke before she became a demon.
One of Tanjiro's like moons. I don't know if we're gonna call it.
Damn.
I don't know if we're gonna call them
Then-
moons, but we could say like one of Tanjiro's like lieutenants or something.
Then Kotoha like would have had some mad skills or something to shoot up the ranks that fast. Because Inosuke is only like how old? It's like 16.
He's like
about
one.
16.
He's like 16.
So in that 16 years, she would have had to shoot up to be an upper moon somehow. So he, like, for instance, Kaigaku, well, there's like one reason and only 3 reasons he became an upper moon is that he was already skilled beforehand, but Muzan was also kind of, running out of.
What if
demon.
we do it along the lines of? What if we do it like this? We could say that Kotoha leapt through baby Inosuke into the river, but then before Doma could fully kill her, he only injures her. Tanjiro saves him, but when she tries to find Inosuke again, she can't find him. So she has to get stronger, and she's going around a lot looking for him. And as a byproduct, she is getting stronger, and eventually rises to Upper Moon 2 as a result of that. She's
Fair.
Oh, there.
To keep Inosuke and the Slayers around Tanjiro. And it also does create a good parallel between Inosuke and Tanjiro, where both have estranged parents who are working together.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I mean. And then the fact is, like, if Kotoha is going around everywhere looking for her baby, then she's gonna probably be needing to get stronger quickly too, because spending that stamina much less. And then eventually, even though it's only been around like 14 or like around 15 years or so, that amount of time, the fact that she's doing more than an average demon would be in that time, lets her grow up to Upper Moon. Or rather, the lieutenants, so to speak. I'm just going to refer to them as lieutenants because we have moons from moons, so we have to do something beyond like Tanjiro's moons. Okay, just say the lieutenants. Okay, please.
Yeah.
Call them the boys.
Kotoha is not a boy. Just call them the lieutenants, please. I beg of you.
We should name one
She
of
could
them
be a
Turu.
boy. She could be moonlighting as a boy.
No, but then that just
The
makes it like that.
boys.
Just makes it sound like Tanjiro is sexist to an extent, or rather, is just lucky enough to only recruit males.
Well, I mean, okay.
We're the boys,
The
but
homies.
we have a girl.
Name them the homies. Okay, that's like.
Okay, the
Gender
homies
neutral.
are
The
fine,
gang.
I suppose.
The gang. The Yang gang.
No.
Team Boomerang. And I'm just
Oh.
shitposting.
Oh my goodness. See, this is what we were missing from our podcast this whole time. Someone who just shit posts and doesn't want to contribute to discussion. It's fun. This is what we were missing.
Okay, so Kotoha joins the homies. She joins the homies.
I do want to say, I don't
She
feel it
becomes-
needs to be locked to power. Muzan wanted powerful people to enact his desires. I feel like Tanjiro would value trust more than he would value power. So his lieutenants would be the people he would trust most, not his most powerful. And I feel like he would definitely trust Kotoha the most because she doesn't have.
That's what my
alternative-
Yako AU is
Yeah.
like. That makes sense. But yeah, similar.
Yeah.
It goes
Like-
off. Yeah, it goes off of trust more or less because Tanjiro is mostly a nice person. Although the fact that he is angry at what happened with Nezuko is a front to that. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kotoha, we know that Sabito probably is. We said last time Sabito joined Tanjuro, so did Kotoha, more or less. And Makomo, I think, as well. So let's see, who else would Tanjuro recruit or trust, so to speak?
Hmm.
He just recruited Kanai that one time. Imagine. You
I
know,
can see that.
you know what? I had an idea where
I say recruit Tamayo. I know that's a far-fetched idea, but
I don't know. I feel-
Jima's kids.
No, I mean then like how would we do that though? Like what would we say Tanjuro's demon blood art is? Because here's the thing. Like are we saying first
Can't he like cure people?
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. If we keep the backstories the same, that means like along the lines this is what would happen. Tanjiro arrives in the interval. He replaces the dying people with a clone that retains the consciousness of a human. The clone dies, gets exposed to the sun, and yet it doesn't disintegrate, with no one the wiser.
What
So,
the fuck?
like, that's the thing. Like, we would have to change some of the backstories in reference to that then, if they got saved. Because, like, we can't have the Gyome, we can't have the Gyome gets framed by Sayo, and then they find the bodies of the kids everywhere in the morning. Or we can't have the Kanai is like dying and talking to Shinobu thing if we're gonna have a replacement thing like that. You know what I mean? Unless we have
Yeah,
a
that's
replacement.
true.
So unless we change those, or we give Tanjiro that blood art with all those things I mentioned, we're not. It's not gonna make much sense now, is it?
Which is why I about just completely scrapping things and starting from scratch certain ideas. It's up to you guys what you're comfortable with though.
I think because it's an AU and we're trying, and if we want
yeah,
to
I'm a bit
include some
lost,
people,
so I'd be
I
fine
think
with it.
I think we should do the from scratch, but similar to the effect, more or less. Like we could say that Doma. We could say that Doma nearly killed Kanai, and then and for some reason they were they were there or something, and then Kanai's body, as she was dying, got separated from Shinobu. So there's it fell into a river or something, I don't know, and then it washed up somewhere while she was still dying, and then Tanjiro did it, whatever.
A well-timed explosion.
The beer factory blew up.
There was a fire.
Let's take a step back again because this is making me think. We're giving Duma a lot of kills right now. I feel like if he's just a regular cult leader, that doesn't work. He would have to be a demon, be in all these places, and to survive, both trying to kill Kotoha and trying to kill Kanai.
That is true.
And we have talked about having the third faction before, so
Muzan.
Yeah.
We could make Muzan, the third faction. We could.
I thought that was implied already. I thought we talked about that in the first.
Yeah, I thought we already made
remember.
Muzan third faction.
And if he's the third faction, then that makes things really spicy, especially if he's Nezuko's father. So then you would have, just this web of a family tree. Imagine, Muzan wants Nezuko and Tanjiro. Tanjiro wants Tanjiro. And wants her. It's all these people trying to reconnect with their families. there's all these walls between. And
Hmm.
meanwhile, you have different factions and slayers fighting against each other. But going back to Kanai, if we do say that Doom nearly kills her, well, Toha is the one to see. But
We could have it that maybe Tanjiro doesn't save Kotoha or Kanai, but rather one of the subordinates of Tanjiro saves them.
yeah, he doesn't have to be everywhere.
Yeah, so we could have that.
But is my thought. Shinobu is Kanai. They get attacked by Duma. They get separated. Duma wounds Kanai, but sees the sun coming up, so he flees. Shinobu, as she's trying to reconnect with Kanai, sees Kotoha over Kanai. She thinks, she thinks Kotoha is the one who kills Kanai, and that she steals her body to go eat it. But in reality, she just steals her way to.
I would love that, honestly.
Okay, I can see what that makes sense, but it also, with the third faction thing, it also makes it a little bit more interesting.
Especially if the third faction kind of muddies the perception of things. Like, for example, if Duma is believed to be, well, if Kotoha is the one who's thought to have killed Kanai, Duma gets off scot-free. Now the third faction is not, being dragged into that conflict, which gives them more freedom.
But I think we established that the Demon Slayer Corps doesn't exactly know that the two factions are two factions. They think just demons are demons, more or less, until Tanjiro somehow comes around to tell them, like, yeah, there's actually two factions. Like, there's not all demons are the same demons. You've been gaslighted by thinking Muzan is the only demon king in this world. There's actually another one. Something like that.
It's me.
What?
This
he's like, it's me. I'm the second demon king.
It's a me.
It's a me.
It's a me, Tanjiro.
Tanjiro, and I'm the other demon king.
Just a.
But if we are saying that there's two demon kings, this makes me.
I can say that later. Go ahead.
What if, Yorichi nearly kills Muzan with Tanjiro's help, and part of why Yorichi gets kicked out is because of his association with Tanjiro.
I mean, he already got kicked out because when his brother turned into a demon, thanks to Muzan, and then he let Tamayo escape. But then again, that begs the question: would Yorichi be? Do we want Yorichi to be as OP? Because if he's getting help from someone besides himself in that moment, it's not necessarily as powerful or as impactful. You know what I mean? At least
it's not necessarily that maybe he doesn't need the help, but maybe that Tanjiro needs that because he feels that one of his subordinates is turning against him. Or even Muzan helps Yorichi attack Tanjiro. And that's when Tanjiro realizes that there's multiple factions and it's only these three characters who really get the full feel of things or
Tamayo. Are we still doing the whole Tamayo is worth Muzan at the time? Because I feel like she would also know.
And I feel like that would be a really good thing for Tamayo to still be under Muzan to lose Tanjiro's trust because he doesn't. Tamayo is Muzan. So Tamayo gain back Tanjiro's trust.
You're breaking up on my end. I can't hear you from time to time. Like you're skipping words from your mic.
Sorry. I'm trying to say if Tamayo loses Tanjiro's trust by being turned by Muzan, then it could be one of her character arcs one of her character arcs can be to regain Tanjiro's trust and be treated as an in-demon again instead of, this outsider that she's been for so long.
Hold on, let me like again the whole skipping mics thing.
Are you getting any issues on my mic snack?
Yours skipped a little on my side.
Yeah.
Let me disconnect real quick.
Okay, now we should post on him. So what do we all say? Yep. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully that fixes it. But what I'm getting at is you're saying that Tamayo loses Tanjuro's trust? Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So why
Like
is
she
that?
wants to be on his side because she was turned by Muzan instead of by Tanjiro. And Muzan is able to control Tamio even if for a moment. It kind of makes Tanjiro question any demon that Muzan has turned.
So then we're saying, so what that would mean, like, what's the policy here? Because Tamayo has to know about Tanjuro, so to speak, before any of this happens. Like, I would assume Muzan, thanks to Muzan, at this time would inform his turned demons that they're actually at war with another group of demons from another progenitor. So Tamayo would know it that way. But
Well, what I'm thinking is that the war between the two factions would start with Yorichi. Because up until that point, Tanjiro kind of just let demons do their thing. He has Muzan, who's, has been a demon for a long time. He started making his own demons. There's a few others who have done the same. And he has this bigger net of demons, but they're, more relaxed, generally speaking. The Slayers are less aggressive because the demons are less aggressive.
well, I mean, Muzan's demons wouldn't be less aggressive, more or less.
Well, they would have to be as long as Tanjiro was around, because if they were more aggressive, they would get reprimanded, they would get, killed by Tanjiro. So when Muzan finds this very powerful person, Yorichi, he could try and contract Yorichi to kill, or trick Yorichi to kill Tanjiro. And that could be what spawns this rift between the demons and also makes Tanjiro more paranoid.
I mean, are we getting rid of the Yorichi trauma then from the demon attack, more or less?
Oh, that could happen. Like, if like an uncontrolled demon attacked and killed his,
Yeah, no, but then I would doubt that Yorichi would agree to be a contract for any demon at that point.
It can
It'd be
happen
really
after
anti-demon.
Like
basically.
what I would think would be better is like we could say like this is Muzan's ego. The two factions have been warring for a time, but because of the fact that they war against each other half the time, as opposed to fighting the Slayers and humans, more or less. There's less demon attacks, so to speak, because at the end of the day, some of Muzan's demons don't need to hunt prey when their meal is they've literally killed the enemy and can feast on that, so to speak.
Sounds good to me.
So it would be more accurate to say, like, while there is a demon slayer corpse, more or less, the amount of activity that each slayer sees, or the amount of times that demons like kill people from both sides, is very, very low because they've been working against each other for the most part. And then we could say, and then that would allow us to keep the Yorichi motivation to join the demon slayer corps because a demon kills it, although he doesn't know which one. We could say in regards to, we could say that maybe along that way, maybe Yorichi learns from Tanjuro, so to speak, that maybe that he is actually maybe Yorichi meets Tanjuro, and then he learns about the two factions. And technically, since that demon wasn't one of Tanjuro's, Yorichi believes him because he can tell with his mark. And then they give the whole direction towards, Muzan's location. But then Yorichi finds out that, I don't know, Tanjuro's side, so to speak, like apparently that demon that was in retaliate that the demon attack on Yorichi's like family or whatever was in retaliation for something. Like maybe they were looking for one of Tanjuro's demons, more or less, and that Tanjuro's demons were also responsible for a few things. So that kind of breaks down the trust, more or less. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we could have it
So
like
it's
that.
like. So it's like.
So it's like
So.
person A, Yoriichi, thinks that person B, Tanjiro, is responsible, but person B truthfully tells person A that it wasn't me or my responsibility. Person A has reason to believe this. Person B, Tanjiro, tells Yoriichi, it's this guy. And then person C and person A confront. Yoriichi moves on confront, but then Muzan reveals that Tanjiro, while he was a demon, he is also responsible for a few things. And he is like not entirely innocent, and that kind of just causes the whole like rift still, more or less. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So person B tells person A, person C did this, but then person C is like, yeah, I did this, but person B isn't innocent either, so why the hell are you trusting him? And then person A is like, you know what, fuck both of you.
Good.
Huh?
He's like, you
Both
all.
of you, and I said Yoriichi could.
Yeah. But anyway, what is it? So yeah, we could say like maybe Tanjuro like is just up there snacked.
Sorry, I accidentally closed Discord.
Fail.
So, Tanjiro, you guys agreed on it?
Yeah, more or
Yeah.
less.
I mean, I rarely disagree with
Very
that.
much
Maybe
so.
false.
We don't disagree ever. I don't think we've ever had a disagreement, right, DCC?
No, I don't think a single one.
Eh.
Go fuck yourself, buddy. Anyway, so now that we kind of have a better sense of this two-front war, how does that affect events going forward?
Well, I would
you know,
think
we
that
can.
I would think that Yoriichi never gets a chance to tell, or rather, he does never gets a chance to tell like the courts that there's two factions. But then again, he might also just go along the lines of it doesn't matter that there's two factions; they're both guilty of being demons, more or less. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna kill them all.
Yeah, something like that.
Gotta kill them all.
And
gotta
in
kill
any
them
case,
all.
they're gonna
Of course
have
we
to
gotta
work
focus.
together. Then they're not gonna want to work together. Like in the case that Yoriichi would ever have to to do a temporary alliance with Tanjiro, that might not work because trust issues and that stuff.
Something like that, yeah.
But if we follow the main plot line, the Temple Demon, honestly, you could put him on either faction. He's a rather minor one, so I feel like you can get away with whatever.
Would do you think the Temple Demon would be more vicious, or would you be more like tending to say, "Oh, you're his child" or something, because he would probably recognize.
Well, if he realized who he was fucking with, he would. He probably wouldn't care. He would just try and get out of there. Be like, "Oh, that's a progenitor demon's son." No.
No,
Oh
I'm
my
not.
god.
I'm not screwing with that.
Oh my god. No.
No, thank you. No cheese. Goodbye. That's what he'd say.
He'd take his little head and start trying to run.
Throw his head like a football. But no, I'm not dealing with that.
Eat his head out of there.
Yeet him, skeet him.
It's his own head.
He's like, oh, hell no.
But
Get
after
out of
the
here,
Temple Demon, I feel like the next significance would be training with the Rokodaki. Would they still? Do you think you would still train them, send them to train with the Rokodaki?
Why not?
And I feel this time Nezuko would get to train along as well.
Yep.
Now we have 2 strong Kamados. The fuck? Up twice as many people.
2 water breathers.
More people, more the merrier.
The more water breathers, the better.
That means
We
Nezuko
can
is around.
hydrate.
That would mean
everyone.
Nezuko's around when Zenitsu's simping over her.
Mm-hmm.
He's fully coherent about it.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Huh?
He's like, what the fuck?
Okay, that was An accident, yes, but the more water breathers, the better. The normies of the Demon Slayer Corps.
More normies, let's go.
All right, so then they go to Urokodaki. That's fine. And then
Good question though. What color do you think Nezuko's blade comes out to? Because
here's a thought: do we think Nezuko would get water breathing, or do you think she would make her own breathing? Because if we want to, because then they would probably, because I think that the reason Tanjiro got breath, like he said, he was more suited for Breath of the Sun, so his would be black still. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like we could say that maybe we actually, you know what, we could say that Tanjiro, like in this case, this is a small matter of fact that the Breath of the Sun was passed down through through the maternal line, through Kie, until Tanjiro met her, but they didn't realize what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we could say that, and that's where the Kamado name comes from. Like we could say that Tanjiro doesn't have a last name Kamados, more or less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, but
For Nezuko, I tend to headcanon that she uses Breath of Flames. It feels like it would fit for her because doesn't Rengoku or someone make a comment about, oh, they're a coal burner? They're probably gonna have like a red blade or something like that.
No, that's Hagen
Was that
Nezuko.
Hagen Nezuko?
That's Hagen Nezuko.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, is some of that there, but we could also give her an original breath or a different breath.
Either way, I don't think that Nezuko's getting a black blade because only Tanjiro would probably have learned Breath of the Sun by this time. You know?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So then
She could get a red blade.
Nezuko, you mean?
Yeah.
Nezuko could get a red blade. They could also, you know what, Nezuko. What is she?
You know what's an interesting thought I had? If it's passed down through the maternal line, wouldn't Kie teach it to Nezuko and not Tanjiro?
No, what I was thinking is we were working for, like, when I say it was passed through the maternal line, it means it's because like Kie's family inherited it, but it's not because a woman learned it more than it is like.
Okay.
But any event, what I thought it was is that the eldest child learns it more or less. Get what I'm saying? Like the eldest child learns, and then Kie inherited it because she was the eldest child, and then she taught it to Tanjiro, who was her first child, more or less. Because we don't have a Tanjiro in canon, so to speak.
Because I was going to say, if it was passed down maternal, it would be interesting if Nezuko was taught the Breath of the Sun, but she never had the natural inclination for it, but she was able to teach it to the Tanjiro.
We could say that they teach it to the firstborn if it's a male, but also the firstborn female.
Yeah.
And if they both coalesce, then they only teach it to one. So a female always inherits it. We could say that, but Nezuko just didn't take to it. And because we had Tanjiro already, they didn't push the issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'd say, let's just leave it to Tanjiro learning it, and then we'll give Nezuko Breath of Flames. And if she wants to branch out, maybe, she tries to study under Mitsuri at one point, because Mitsuri's like, a girl Breath of Flames user? I was a girl Breath of Flames user. Can I teach you?
I feel like it depends. Like, how strong physically is Nezuko?
Or if we want to do actually, if we want to do,
because Breath of Love, I feel like Breath of Love, it's more specialized
strength and flexibility.
Yeah, it's more it's specialized for Mitsuri. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't think Mitsuri would be teaching it to anyone soon. But what I was gonna say is, if we have like combination stuff, and we want Tanjiro being supported by Nezuko, we could give her an original breath, more or less. Like we could say maybe like Breath of something like Breath of the Stars, because stars are miniature suns, so to speak, and then they support the night sky more or less.
Or if we still go the Mitsuri route, we could say either she teaches a watered down version of Breath of Love, in terms of flexibility and strength needed for Nezuko, or like you said, a new breath style, but it's like branched from love or something.
I don't know. Like Nezuko is very passionate, so maybe breath of passion, not necessarily love. Like it can be really hot, burning passion for something.
Breath of
Something.
explosion. I'm joking. Explosion, exploding blood. Let's go.
I don't know.
Bakugo's breath.
I'm just personal to breath of passion, just because one, we can see why passion would be associated with love, but also it doesn't necessarily associate it with love and power. You know what I mean? Like passion can
Yeah.
be used for different things. And Nezuko's very
Like-
passionate when she's lucid.
In my AU, the Breath of Flames is very focused on passion. In that, you know, in the CRAU, it's focused on how dedicated you are, how passionate you are about something. Not passion as in people often think about it, but passion almost in the sense of drive and focus and desire. You know,
Yeah.
the fire in your eyes, that's where it goes for. But I feel like when you say the breath of passion, people don't think of it that way. You know, they wouldn't see the idea of something being focused on passion and associating it with power or things like that. That's why I tend not to use the word as often as I think of it. You know what I mean?
I get it. I mean, if we're keeping this closer to canon, not theory, canon, we could say, like Breath of Flames is more about power in your strikes. Like we see that in like what they're doing more or less. Like flames is meant to represent the power of sun breathing more or less. So I would.
Yeah.
So,
If I was to
yeah.
give Nezuko her own unique breath, I feel like it should be like a breath of explosion or something when we consider what her BDA was in canon. You know, flames or combustion or something like that.
I get
Definitely.
too.
she can also age up her body, regenerate, like whatever. So let me think. I don't know,
Breath
but
of explosion could be good.
I don't know. I don't know. Just when I think about the naming conventions and the way that people and the way things are branched off in Demon Slayer, Breath of Explosion. I don't know. It just seems.
Yeah, it's just a thought.
It seems a bit awkward to me, more or less.
Unless you're like throwing bombs, I feel like it probably wouldn't make too much sense. Or something.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, we can leave that open. Like, what we can agree on is that Nezuko wouldn't have a black blade, and she would have a blade that's either blue or a different color. She wouldn't use.
I would definitely say a red, maybe like
Yeah.
A maroonish
purplish
blade, I would
red.
say. Maybe
You
a
know, kind of like the
maroonish.
color that her flames and blood were.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, like a reddish blade.
No, see, in canon, it looked
and
more like they were maroon, a little bit maroon, like a light maroon to me. Like
Yeah.
in the anime. So I would say a maroon blade, lower than just like explicit red, more or less.
And I feel like that would also get the attention of Rengoku. So maybe, you know, they talk more before the Infinity Train arc. And maybe
Make that
Nezuko
death
does learn
more
some breath of flames.
sad.
But
Yeah,
you know,
just
I do feel like it would make sense if Nezuko near the end of the series does develop her own breath because, you know, if she knows water, she probably learns fire. She probably gets exposed to some sun from watching time. Probably learns
breath
a bit
of
about
gasoline.
Or she learns water and learns fire, and then she can switch between two, like that goon from the Space Jam 2 trailer.
What about breath of gasoline?
Did no one get that
Oh,
reference?
America's coming for
Aw,
you.
man.
But what I was gonna say is she'll also probably learn some concepts from Thunder because we even Tanjiro learned some from, you know, Zenith.
Would she be disgusted because with Zenitsu simping though? To learn like he's like
she
I feel like
would.
she would put
She
him in
looks
his
like the
place.
She
person
probably
who would.
would.
I feel like she would put him in his place, and if he didn't,
Yeah, put him
Then
in
she
his
would be
place.
She puts him in his place, and he has to learn how to not be a simp to get her feelings if that ship ever becomes a thing in the AU.
Yeah.
Like he'd learn how
Characters,
to actually like.
Consistent character development.
Yeah.
Like consistent character growth. Not just like backtracking at the end where he starts simping again. Ahem Gatoge.
But back to Nezuko's breath, I'm just saying, I feel like she'll see enough concepts and be exposed to enough ideas to essentially create her own breath. But what that is, I'm not sure if we know right now. If we do a part, maybe we'll have an idea then.
Okay.
Why does my mind say like the breath of devotion or something?
I feel like that's a little
Devotion
too
and
much.
passion have the same problem of having too many connotations.
No, but I feel like when someone says breath of passion, it's not so much as devotion. Because devotion seems a bit more like you have a clear idea, like more or less. You know, like it's more romantic when you think about it. But passion, it has more of a general feel to it.
Breath of determination.
Like you have a passion for doing this.
That's better.
So
Even you could just simplify it to breath of burning.
nah, that just sounds cliche. I'm not gonna lie.
But you know, we can always talk about this in a
No, Breath
so,
of Burning.
Yeah.
That's like it's that South Korean film, aka the first form is burning down a barn house somewhere.
So we do say they train with a Rokudaki. I guess they'll be at the final selection. Inosuke, Zenitsu will be there. Kana will be there. Genya will be there.
Maybe.
Genya.
What is Genya like in this AU?
Is he
Might
really
just be the
Probably still rough around the edges.
Is he actually able to learn a breath this time around, or no? Because that was his issue in the manga, was like he wasn't able to learn a breath.
He didn't have the talent.
Yeah. I was just gonna say in this AU he has the talent to do a breath.
I mean, we don't necessarily
I feel
have
like
to. But
if
also,
you
I
make
do
a change
feel
like that, you have to have a way to justify it.
Yeah.
I also
so...
feel like Genya not being able to use breaths is also sort of like gives him his personality, or rather gives him some characterization.
So basically,
it sets him
he'd
apart
be in
from some other things.
If he's the same, he'd probably maybe like so after he and Tsunemi split.
You know, I just thought of something. If we keep the whole Genya can eat demons thing, if Tanjiro and Nezuko can regenerate, and what?
I'll eat you, bitch.
No. But that means in the blacksmith arc. What if what if someone like Tanjiro's like, here, eat my hand or something? Just chops off his hand before it, and then
it should be Nezuko because he'll get shy about eating a girl's hand.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Nezuko tries first. Nezuko tries first.
I feel like
it doesn't work.
If he goes through the final selection, either people they know about his eating skills, so they send him in anyways or something, or that just makes sense. It's either maybe he has some very good skill with like how he does in the manga. He uses a gun, so they want to see what he can do. So they send him in with his guns.
Well, one thing I wanted to say
muscles,
was,
though.
Okay, true. he's a skinny twig.
I mean, like if you see Ogata from Golden Kamuy, he's also weak, but
just make Ogata a snipe. No, why did I say Ogata?
Oh, please, Noda drew him muscles during the otter meat scene. We all know.
Yeah, but like, no, the thing is, even though he has muscles, he's very weak in close combat, but he makes it up by being athletic enough to escape most situations. And
I guess you could just run Genya the same
like this, I wonder why I introduced you guys to Golden Kamuy the other day.
You didn't introduce me. I introduced myself.
I mentioned Golden Kamuy to you earlier, remember?
Yeah, no. I introduced myself into the whole thing by myself, like.
Snake just dragged me in. I'm sorry.
No, but I think it was like I do remember like we were in like a decent. But anyway, it's not important. Let's keep on
Okay,
track.
not important. I'm just saying
Um,
Genya as a marksman by himself could probably like do pretty well out there, like in
Could
terms of
probably
survival.
just do marksman
Probably.
Genya instead of like sword Genya or something.
But one thing I wanted to say is because Nezuko is, a more interactive character here, she's not
Mhm.
silent. I
Yep.
feel like she also gives Genya a lot of opportunity to come out of his shell. Because Genya's shy around women, but most of the women he's been around are, very womanly women. Nezuko
Very
is still a young
womanly.
girl. She's not as intimidating.
Genya X,
At least in
Genya
that
X
way.
Nezuko shippers be eyes glinting right now.
Oh my
But one way I definitely think you could start this out is even when Genya kind of tries to muscle the Ubiyashikis for the ore, instead of having Tanjiro break his arm, have Nezuko
Oh
do it.
fuck, Nezuko will fuck him up.
No, what happens is Tanjiro stops him, and then Genya tries to, and then Tanjiro says like, "Don't, please don't. I'm the nice one. Like you'll get worse." And then Genya thinks Tanjiro's talking about him, but in reality, he tries to get at Tanjiro again, but Tanjiro's like just shakes his head like, "Nope, now you've invoked wrath." And then Nezuko deals with it afterwards.
Nezuko's like, you wanna fight, bitch?
You
I'm
want to
gonna
fight my
fuck
brother?
you up.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat you up. And then no, and Tanjiro is just like, I'm actually not the one you should be fearing here. There's another Kamado here.
Just Nezuko takes off her shoe, like I'm a chunk.
La chancla.
La chancla.
The
Takes
chancla
his
his
shoe
ass.
off, kicks him, and then German suplexes him.
Bitch, come here. And let me German suplex your ass.
But yeah, so we could have that, and then
Yeah.
what? And then maybe like the fact that Nezuko did like like be a little rough with him more or less was like it makes him again a little bit less shy just because he's like it's not like a normal thing like he has that
Yeah,
legitimate
yeah.
Like,
feast
oh,
with her.
I don't have to be worried about women being so pretty I can't talk to them. I have to be worried about women talking to me because they'll
I
be
have to worry about getting my ass kicked
Yeah, something
by
like
a
that.
12-year-old.
No, but Nezuko's 14 though.
By a 14-year-old. But how old is Genya here then?
Isn't he like
He's like
16?
16.
He's 16. And I'm pretty sure Tanjiro is like 2 years older than Nezuko, and he'd be 15.
Tanjiro's 15.
Yeah.
Isn't Tanjiro a year older than Nezuko?
Yeah, Tanjiro's 15 and Nezuko's 14 in the canon.
Was it? I could have sworn. I think it's maybe a year and a half older. Maybe I don't know. It could be wrong though. But
Nezuko is like 12 in canon, and then Tanjiro is like I think 14 or 15 actually.
yeah, something similar. It's weird.
Well,
So a 2 to
that's
3 year
also-
age gap, basically.
Do they count the fact that Nezuko technically didn't age as
We're
a
talking
demon?
chronologically.
That's what I'm saying about the why my Nezuko is biologically 12 and then Tanjiro is biologically like 15 is
And that's what I'm talking
because
about.
that year.
Because I remember at the start of the series, Nezuko was 12.
So there's probably
Because 2
A
years
year
past
or
during
two.
training.
a
Yeah,
year or
2
two biological age gap, but chronological age gap there's about 3 years.
Yeah.
No,
I
because
think-
the
So
thing
in
is,
this situation, it
Well-
would only be about a year.
No, but the thing is, like, based on their birthdays and the fact that Tanjiro was, I think, 16 to 17 around chapter 204, it may be like they're maybe only a little bit younger than 2 years, only a little bit less than 2 years apart. But then that could also
So
be
I'm
as
like
well.
1 or 2 years. It's like between 1 or 2
So
years.
Ezuko is either
of
2 or 1 year
age.
younger at any time.
I said 1 or 2 years. So like when I mean 1 or 2
I
years,
love
I
how
mean
we're talking
optionally
about
it could
years,
be
and
one
yet in
around
canon,
1 around 2.
Wani never actually gave us years to work with, just eras.
Wani,
Yeah.
give us the deets.
wait, wasn't he like?
Actually, there was only
Um.
one time they gave something that resembled, more or less, but then again, it's different.
So anyway, so Nezuko and Tanjiro work together to kill the hand demon?
They work to get to. They work to kill a hand demon, but before that, they also work together to get to final selection because their half demon heritage makes Wisteria stink to them. Like not lethal, but it just smells horrible.
Give the demon a wisteria bouquet. That's how you offend a demon.
There's Wisteria by my house. Not gonna lie.
It's like giving someone like in China or fucking like white flowers on, and it's like basically I hope you die or something like that, right?
I'm gonna say
You're not supposed to give white flowers because it's culturally white. It's like I think it's like giving someone black roses in like the West, right?
I'm not certain about this particular part, more or less, but I do know that when they dress you up in white for funerals, it does make sense why they would think a white
The
is a lot.
dead is dressed in white, like even in the Philippines, like a burial shroud is like white. Right? The little like thing they're wrapped in is white, so that's why they have that ghost of a person hopping in their funeral shroud. They're hopping because their legs are tied together, but they're wrapped in white fabric. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, but in any event. But yeah, we can end off here. I think it's been about an hour, so we can end off on Tanjiro and Nezuko working to kill the hand demon after hearing about Urokodaki's disciples, which pisses them off greatly, both of them. And I think maybe the hand demon is so blinded with rage, he doesn't, at the two of them, that he doesn't, or rather greed, opportunity, rage, that he doesn't notice that both of them are the Demon King's sons. Like, Tanjiro's sons. Children.
One thing I was gonna say is I feel like the hand demon could work for a Tanjiro demon. Maybe he's just struggling to survive there and consuming people just so he doesn't die, all the while hoping that Tanjiro will one day come for him again.
But then would he recognize that Tanjiro or Tanjiro is like the... Actually, if we go on that angle, we could say that maybe he does recognize the appearance of Tanjiro because he looks similar to Tanjiro, more or less. And then he figures out, and then he's like, please break me out of this prison, but because of what he's done to Urokodaki's sibling, disciples, like Tanjiro and Nezuko decide they can't. And they said he's gonna pay for that. And Hand Demon's initially confused, but then he has to start fighting for his life, and out of anger that his master's children betrayed him, so to speak.
Well, what I was gonna say is, if the hand demon, sees Nezuko and is like, "Oh, I'll eat that," starts attacking Nezuko. Well, Tanjiro would without even hesitation.
I mean, but the thing is, would he recognize Nezuko as being? No, he wouldn't recognize Nezuko as being the blood relation of Tanjiro because technically they aren't.
Yeah.
So I guess that works.
I think
but then I would assume he stops and he stops after he sees Tanjiro, but then he mentions the Urokodaki thing. And then they end up still having to fight because Tanjiro and Nezuko don't want to let him go. They want to avenge, more or less.
They want to avenge Sabito and Momoko and all the other.
Sabito and Momoko are alive, though.
Oh, okay. All the others past students minus those two.
Yeah.
They didn't get RKO'd. I'm dumb. I've been going around this whole time thinking Tanjiro is just Tanjiro with his name changed. I didn't realize they're two different people. I'm dumb. Why am I doing this?
It's fine. But anyway, we can say that happens. They get to the end of final selection. The whole confrontation between the Kamado siblings end up with the Genya thing, and then it's time for their first mission, so to speak. I think
that just jumped in my head. Just dumb thought, real quick. Zenitsu sees Nezuko, threatening Genya's life, and he's just like, "Damn, that's hot. I wonder my life."
Would he? He was. I feel like he was.
Being
Here's a
horny.
thought. Would Nezuko? What? Would if Zenitsu was thinking that, I think we would have seen that with the Kanao situation, but we didn't see that. I think he was still kind of traumatized at the time, more or less. You know what I mean? Like, just from surviving.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
I just-
holy shit.
But at what cost?
But anyways, I think that's a good note to end it for now. You all agree?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm good.
All right. Well, any final thoughts before we all head out? DCC?
Feels good to be back on my couch.
Why, were you just sitting on a stool the whole time?
My couch was the first thing that I moved out of the apartment. So for the last few times we recorded, yes, I was sitting on the floor.
Rip. Anyway,
Like-
flaming trisexual. Or red spider
I'm a
lily.
certified dumbass.
Okay. Snacked?
Tanjiro's family drama is very Kardashian-like.
Yeah, keeping up with the
Keeping up with the
Kamados.
Komodos.
Okay.
Is that a chicken?
Wait, which one is going to be the transgender one?
Is that a chicken?
The trans woman Kamado,
Technically,
Yes,
he
knows
is.
that.
Technically, he
Muzan
is.
Jenner? Muzan Jenner?
Great.
Who's
Anyway.
gonna be the one who conflated a pig for a chicken?
My final thoughts are: if you heard the Golden Kami references, get used to it. We have 3 people in here who know what it is and like it a lot. And my last, and the
DCC
very,
does
very
too.
last,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Nick
he
is
doesn't. But he doesn't
very
reference Golden
invested
Kamui every chance he
In
gets.
ass.
Oh my god.
But
Nick is
anyway,
invested
and my final thoughts are
family ass.
hashtag Let's Notora reimagine KNY. Okay, now we're done.
That'd be nightmare.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Too horny.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.